The book of Proverbs, one of the books in the Old Testament of the Bible, is a collection of wise sayings, instructions, and teachings traditionally attributed to King Solomon, though parts of it include contributions from other sources, such as Augur and Lemuel. It is not a narrative story, but rather a compilation of wisdom literature designed to guide readers in living a life of righteousness, discipline, and godly wisdom. The book of Proverbs defines wisdom as skillful living, grounded in reverence for God. Proverbs 1-7 states, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and instruction." This foundational truth emphasizes that true understanding begins with a humble acknowledgement of God's authority and guidance. Wisdom's call. Wisdom is vividly personified as a woman standing in public places, calling out to the naive and the foolish, urging them to abandon their ways. In Proverbs 1:20-33, she warns of the consequences of ignoring her instruction: calamity and destruction, but also promises peace and security to those who heed her voice. This imagery highlights the accessibility of wisdom and the importance of responding to her call with humility and obedience. A life guided by wisdom brings profound blessings, safety and confidence. Wisdom shields from harm and fosters inner peace. Proverbs 3:23-26. Success and prosperity. By honoring God with resources and trusting in His ways, one experiences His provision. Proverbs 3:9-10. Longevity and favor. Wisdom leads to a long and fulfilling life, earning favor with both God and others. Proverbs 3:1-4. Living wisely, therefore, is not just a path to earthly success, but also a reflection of a life aligned with God's will. The fear of the Lord is a central theme in the wisdom literature of the Bible, particularly in Proverbs. This fear is not about terror or dread, but a profound sense of awe, respect, and submission to God's sovereignty. It shapes a person's perspective, priorities, and choices, serving as the foundation for true wisdom and understanding. Proverbs 1:7 declares, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and instruction." This principle teaches that all true knowledge and wisdom begin with a right relationship with God. Without acknowledging God's authority and holiness, human understanding is incomplete and misguided. Similarly, Proverbs 9:10 reinforces this idea. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is insight. To fear the Lord means to recognize His infinite power, justice, and love, and to live in a way that reflects His character and purposes. Living in the fear of the Lord influences every area of life, guiding decisions and fostering a life marked by humility, righteousness, and divine protection. A reverent fear of God cultivates humility, reminding us of our dependence on Him. Proverbs 3:5-6 advises, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make straight your paths." When we honor God, we surrender our plans and rely on His wisdom, trusting that His ways are higher than ours. Reverence for God motivates us to walk in righteousness and avoid evil. Proverbs 14:2 contrasts those who fear the Lord with those who reject Him. Whoever walks in uprightness fears the Lord, but he who is devious in his ways despises Him. This fear produces a life of moral integrity, reflecting God's holiness and love to others. The fear of the Lord also provides safety and spiritual vitality. Proverbs 14:26-27 proclaims, "In the fear of the Lord one has strong confidence, and his children will have a refuge." The fear of the Lord is a fountain of life. that one may turn away from the snares of death. Honoring God brings peace, protection, and strength, shielding us from harm and leading us to eternal life. The fear of the Lord is the lens through which we view the world rightly. It aligns our hearts with God's truth, enabling us to discern what is wise, just, and good. This reverence transforms knowledge into wisdom, ensuring that our understanding leads not only to personal success, but also to lives that glorify God. The fear of the Lord is not a mere feeling, but a way of life. It requires daily trust, obedience, and reverence for God's presence and commands. By embracing this principle, we align ourselves with God's will, finding wisdom, protection, and purpose in every aspect of life. As Proverbs reminds us, those who fear the Lord will experience the fullness of His blessings and walk securely in His guidance. The book of Proverbs consistently contrasts wisdom and folly, presenting them as two opposing paths that every person must choose between. These paths are not merely abstract ideas, but represent life's defining choices leading either to flourishing and favor or to destruction and regret. Wisdom is portrayed as a priceless treasure, bringing profound blessings to those who seek and embrace it. Proverbs 3:13-18 describes the rewards of wisdom, life and peace. Wisdom imparts inner peace and a fulfilling life. Her ways are ways of pleasantness, and all her paths are peace. Proverbs 3:17. Honor and wealth. Those who pursue wisdom gain respect and often material prosperity, as they align their actions with principles of integrity and diligence. Joy and fulfillment. Proverbs 3:18 calls wisdom a tree of life to those who hold on to her, symbolizing vitality, renewal, and a deep sense of purpose. Wisdom offers guidance for navigating life's complexities, fostering relationships, and avoiding pitfalls. It is a source of strength, resilience, and favor with both God and people. In stark contrast, folly leads to ruin and regret. The foolish reject correction, make impulsive decisions, and embrace sin. Proverbs highlights the characteristics and consequences of folly. Despising correction, fools resist wisdom's discipline and refuse to learn from their mistakes. The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but a wise man listens to advice. Proverbs 12:15. Walking in sin. Foolishness often leads to moral compromise and destructive behaviors, creating harm for oneself and others. Proverbs 10:14 warns, "The wise lay up knowledge, but the mouth of a fool brings ruin near." Ultimate ruin. The path of folly is short-sighted and self-destructive, leading to shame, brokenness, and separation from God. While folly may appear tempting, its pleasures are fleeting and its consequences severe, leaving a trail of regret and loss. The contrast between wisdom and folly underscores the importance of choice. Proverbs 8:35-36 declares, "For whoever finds me wisdom finds life, and obtains favor from the Lord. But he who fails to find me injures himself. All who hate me love death." Every individual must decide whether to follow wisdom's life-giving path or folly's destructive road. This decision requires humility, discipline, and a commitment to seek God's guidance, as wisdom ultimately comes from Him. The choice between wisdom and folly is a defining one, shaping every aspect of life. Wisdom leads to blessings, life, peace, honor, and joy, while folly results in harm, shame, and ruin. Proverbs calls each person to consider their path carefully and choose wisdom, for it is the key to a life of purpose, fulfillment, and alignment with God's will. The book of Proverbs highlights the stark contrast between the lives of the righteous and the wicked. These two opposing paths demonstrate the moral consequences of our choices, and how they align with God's justice, righteousness, which reflects a life lived in obedience to God and His principles, is repeatedly shown to bring rewards, protection, and peace. The blessings of the righteous are both spiritual and practical. Security. Proverbs 10:6 affirms, "Blessings are on the head of the righteous, but the mouth of the wicked conceals violence." The righteous experience God's favor, ensuring their safety and provision. Deliverance. Proverbs 11:5-6 emphasizes that righteousness protects individuals from danger and guides them to safety. The righteousness of the blameless keeps his way straight, but the wicked falls by his own wickedness. Joy and fulfillment. A righteous life is marked by joy, purpose, and peace, as it aligns with God's design for humanity. Righteousness is not merely about external deeds, but reflects an inner commitment to live in harmony with God's will, resulting in blessings that extend to every area of life. In contrast, the wicked, those who reject God's ways and pursue selfish, sinful desires, experience consequences that lead to destruction and loss. The wicked are ensnared by their own actions, leading to ruin. Proverbs 11:21 warns, "Be assured, an evil person will not go unpunished, but the offspring of the righteous will be delivered." Curses and divine judgment. Instead of blessings, the wicked face divine disfavor. Proverbs 15:9 declares, "The Lord detests the way of the wicked, but He loves those who pursue righteousness." No lasting legacy. Wickedness may bring temporary success, but it ultimately leads to emptiness and eternal separation from God. The path of the wicked is marked by instability, shame, and the eventual collapse of everything they build outside of God's principles. Proverbs assures readers that God's justice will ultimately prevail. The righteous may face trials, but they will not be overcome. While the wicked will not escape the consequences of their actions, God's justice is uncheckable. Proverbs 11:31 declares, "If the righteous is repaid on earth, how much more the wicked and the sinner?" This verse emphasizes that God ensures both reward and punishment in accordance with His perfect justice. Divine protection for the righteous. God preserves and upholds the righteous, ensuring they remain steadfast even in challenging circumstances. The contrast between the righteous and the wicked serves as a reminder of the moral order established by God. Righteousness brings blessing, security, joy, and divine favor, while wickedness leads to destruction and judgment. Proverbs calls each person to choose the path of righteousness, trusting in God's justice and seeking His guidance for a life that aligns with His will. The book of Proverbs emphasizes the profound impact of words, teaching that speech has the power to build up or tear down. Words reveal the condition of the heart, shape relationships, and influence outcomes. Recognizing the power of speech encourages us to speak with wisdom, kindness, and integrity. Our words are a mirror of our inner life. Proverbs 15:4 states, "A gentle tongue is a tree of life, but perverseness in it breaks the spirit." Words have the ability to bring healing and encouragement, or cause deep pain and despair. Similarly, Proverbs 18:21 underscores that the stakes of our speech, death and life, are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruits. A wise person uses words to give life, offering encouragement, comfort, and guidance, while a fool's careless or harmful words lead to destruction and strife. What we say reflects the condition of our heart, revealing whether we are rooted in wisdom and righteousness or in folly and selfishness. The words of the wise are intentional, promoting peace, understanding, and trust. Gentle answers. Proverbs 15:1 teaches, a soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. Calm and measured speech diffuses conflict and fosters reconciliation, while angry words escalate tensions. Truth and integrity. Proverbs 12:19 states, truthful lips endure forever, but a lying tongue is but for a moment. Words rooted in truth build trust and establish lasting relationships, while lies ultimately lead to distrust and ruin. The wise understand that words are tools to nurture relationships, solve problems, and reflect God's character. Proverbs also warns against the destructive nature of gossip. It breaks trust, sows discord, and damages reputations, separates friends. Proverbs 16:28 says, a dishonest man spreads strife, and a whisperer separates close friends. Gossip destroys bonds that may have taken years to build, leaving a wake of division and pain. Spreads destruction. Proverbs 18:8 warns, the words of a whisperer are like delicious morsels. They go down into the inner parts of the body. Gossip may seem enticing, but it embeds itself deeply, spreading harm that is difficult to undo. Avoiding gossip is essential for cultivating trust and preserving unity among friends, family, and communities. The power of words cannot be overstated. Wise and gentle speech reflects a heart rooted in righteousness, promotes harmony, and builds trust. In contrast, foolish or harmful words, such as gossip, lies, and harshness bring destruction and division. Proverbs challenges us to use our words intentionally and wisely, speaking life and truth into every situation. By doing so, we honor God and strengthen the relationships entrusted to us. The book of Proverbs provides timeless wisdom on building and nurturing healthy family and relational dynamics. It emphasizes the value of parental guidance, the sanctity of marriage, and the importance of loyal friendships, offering practical advice for fostering love, trust, and harmony in these relationships. Parents play a vital role in shaping their children's character and future, and children are called to respect and learn from their guidance, honor, and obedience. Proverbs 1:8-9 instructs, hear, my son, your father's instruction, and forsake not your mother's teaching, for they are a graceful garland for your head and pendants for your neck. Listening to parental wisdom is portrayed as a source of honor and blessing, enriching a child's life. Laying a firm foundation. Proverbs 22:6 advises, train up a child in the way he should go. Even when he is old, he will not depart from it. Early instruction in godly principles establishes a lifelong foundation for righteousness and wisdom. Parents are encouraged to lead by example, teaching values through both words and actions, while children are reminded to value their parents' efforts to guide them on the path of life. Proverbs celebrates marriage as a divine blessing and warns against threats to its sanctity, particularly the dangers of infidelity. Dangers of infidelity. Proverbs 5:3-8 warns against the seductive allure of the adulterous woman, for the lips of a forbidden woman drip honey, and her speech is smoother than oil. But in the end, she is bitter as wormwood. Infidelity is depicted as a path that leads to regret, brokenness, and destruction, urging individuals to remain faithful to their spouse and avoid compromising situations. A blessing from the Lord. A godly marriage is described as a source of immense joy and support. Proverbs 18:20 proclaims, he who finds a wife finds a good thing, and obtains favor from the Lord. Similarly, Proverbs 31:10-12 extols the virtues of a noble wife, whose faithfulness, wisdom, and industry enrich her husband's life. Marriage is shown to thrive when it is rooted in mutual love, respect, and commitment, reflecting God's design for partnership. Proverbs highlights the importance of surrounding oneself with trustworthy and loving friends, while also warning against the dangers of unfaithful companions. True friendship. Proverbs 17:17 states, "A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity." Genuine friends are dependable, offering unwavering love and support, especially in difficult times. Honest counsel. Proverbs 27:6 teaches, "Faithful are the wounds of a friend. Profuse are the kisses of an enemy." True friends provide honest feedback, even when it is hard to hear, prioritizing the well-being of others over superficial flattery. Avoiding harmful friends. Unfaithful friends can lead to harm and heartache. Choosing companions wisely is essential for maintaining a life of integrity and wisdom. Friendship is a gift, and cultivating relationships rooted in loyalty, honesty, and love strengthens individuals and communities alike. Proverbs presents family, marriage, and friendships as foundational to a fulfilling and godly life. Parents are to impart wisdom, children are to honor their parents, spouses are to cherish and remain faithful to each other, and friends are to embody loyalty and honesty. By embracing these principles, individuals can foster relationships that honor God and bring joy, stability, and peace. The book of Proverbs teaches that work and diligence are vital to living a prosperous and fulfilling life. It contrasts the outcomes of hard work and laziness, illustrating the rewards of diligence and the consequences of idleness. The wisdom of Proverbs encourages a strong work ethic, an understanding of the value of effort, and the dangers of neglecting responsibility. Proverbs repeatedly emphasizes that hard work leads to success, wealth, and satisfaction. Diligent effort is seen as a key factor in achieving prosperity and living a fulfilled life. Wealth through diligence. Proverbs 10:4 states, "A slack hand causes poverty, but the hand of the diligent makes rich." This shows that those who consistently put in the effort are rewarded with abundance. Satisfaction and achievement. Proverbs 13:4 reinforces this idea. The soul of the sluggard craves and gets nothing, while the soul of the diligent is richly supplied. Hard work leads not only to material wealth, but also to a sense of accomplishment and contentment. The diligent are productive and experience the satisfaction of their labor. Diligence is seen as a pathway to both financial security and personal fulfillment. Proverbs underscores the principle that effort and commitment yield lasting rewards. In contrast, laziness brings negative consequences, from poverty and hunger to disgrace and missed opportunities. Proverbs warns against the dangers of sloth and the inevitable ruin it causes, poverty and ruin. Proverbs 6:9-11 vividly depicts the results of laziness. "How long will you lie there, O sluggard? When will you arise from your sleep? A little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come upon you like a robber, and want like an armed man." The passage warns that laziness leads to scarcity and hardship, creeping up unexpectedly and leaving nothing but devastation. Shame and regret. Proverbs 24:30-34 presents the picture of a field overgrown with thorns due to neglect, symbolizing a life lived in idleness. "I passed by the field of a sluggard, by the vineyard of a man lacking sense, and behold, it was all overgrown with thorns. The ground was covered with nettles, and its stone wall was broken down." The sluggard's failure to take action results in regret, poverty, and disgrace. Laziness not only brings poverty, but also leads to emotional and social consequences, leaving the individual with a life unfulfilled and unproductive. Proverbs encourages readers to observe the ant as a model of hard work and diligence. The industrious nature of the ant is a lesson in foresight, discipline, and commitment. The ant's wisdom, Proverbs 6:6-8 instructs, "Go to the ant, O sluggard. Consider her ways and be wise, without having any chief, officer, or ruler. She prepares her bread in summer, and gathers her food in harvest." The ant works diligently, storing up provisions for the future, without being told what to do. This self-discipline and foresight are examples of how we should approach our own work planning ahead, taking initiative and working consistently. Industry and reward. The ant's behavior reflects the value of hard work, persistence, and the wisdom of preparing for a future needs. In observing the ant, Proverbs teaches that success comes not from external enforcement, but from internal discipline, a commitment to consistent work, and an understanding of the long-term benefits of diligence. Proverbs provides a clear contrast between the outcomes of hard work and laziness. Diligence leads to prosperity, satisfaction, and success, while laziness brings poverty, regret, and shame. By learning from the industrious ant, we are encouraged to approach work with purpose, discipline, and foresight, knowing that consistent effort leads to lasting rewards. The wisdom of Proverbs reminds us that our attitude toward work shapes our future, and diligent labor honors God and brings blessings to our lives. The book of Proverbs offers valuable insights into the proper perspective on wealth, emphasizing righteousness, generosity, and the dangers of greed. It teaches that wealth, when acquired and used according to God's principles, can be a blessing, while selfishness and greed bring trouble. Generosity is presented as a key virtue that not only blesses others, but also attracts God's favor. Proverbs stresses that wealth, in and of itself, is neither good nor evil, but the way it is earned and used determines its impact on one's life. Righteous wealth as a blessing. Proverbs 10:20 declares, "The blessing of the Lord makes rich, and he adds no sorrow with it." Wealth that comes through honest work and God's favor is a blessing, bringing joy and fulfillment without the burdens of guilt or trouble. Ill-gotten gains bring trouble. In contrast, Proverbs 11:28 warns, "Whoever trusts in his riches will fall, but the righteous will flourish like a green leaf." Wealth gained through dishonesty, greed, or exploitation ultimately leads to ruin. Those who rely on such ill-gotten riches face insecurity and eventual downfall. True prosperity is rooted in righteousness and integrity, while wealth obtained through wrong means leads to spiritual emptiness and material loss. Proverbs highlights generosity as a key characteristic of a righteous person. Giving to others, especially to those in need, aligns with God's heart and brings rewards. Lending to the Lord. Proverbs 19:17 states, "Whoever is generous to the poor lends to the Lord, and he will repay him for his deed." Generosity to the poor is seen as an act of service to God himself. God honors those who give selflessly and promises to repay them for their kindness. Blessing the generous. Proverbs 22:9 reinforces this idea. "Whoever has a bountiful eye will be blessed, for he shares his bread with the poor." Generosity is a reflection of a compassionate heart, and those who are generous receive God's blessing, not just in material wealth, but in spiritual and relational ways as well. Generosity is not only an act of kindness, but a divine investment that aligns us with God's character, leading to both earthly and eternal rewards, while wealth itself is not condemned. Proverbs provide strong warnings against the destructive nature of greed and the pursuit of wealth as an ultimate goal. Greed leads to destruction. Proverbs 28:25 states, "A greedy man stirs up strife, but the one who trusts in the Lord will be enriched." Greed fosters discontent, quarrels, and selfishness. A heart focused solely on accumulating wealth can lead to spiritual emptiness and social conflict. Dissatisfaction of the greedy. Greed never satisfies. Proverbs teaches that those who constantly seek more without contentment are on a path to destruction, as their desires will never be fully fulfilled. Greed blinds the heart to the true value of life and leads to an unending pursuit of things that do not bring lasting joy or peace. A greedy heart is rooted in a lack of trust in God's provision and a failure to find contentment in what He has already given. Proverbs teaches that wealth is a tool that can be used for good or ill. Righteous wealth, earned through honest means, is a blessing, while ill-gotten gain leads to trouble. Generosity, especially to the poor, pleases God and brings rewards, both materially and spiritually. However, the pursuit of wealth driven by greed and selfishness ultimately leads to destruction and dissatisfaction. By adopting a heart of generosity and contentment, one aligns with God's purposes, finding true prosperity in His blessings. The book of Proverbs provides profound wisdom on leadership, highlighting the importance of justice, wise counsel, and fair decision-making. It teaches that effective leaders are those who seek to govern with integrity, avoid corruption, and make decisions that promote righteousness and stability in society. Proverbs also stresses that leaders who uphold justice reflect God's character, which is the foundation of true leadership. Proverbs highlights that wise leadership is marked by a commitment to justice, integrity, and the welfare of the people. Administrating justice. Proverbs 16:12 states, "It is an abomination to kings to do evil, for the throne is established by righteousness." Leaders are called to rule with righteousness and justice, for their leadership is founded on these principles. Corruption and injustice undermine their authority and the stability of their rule. Avoiding corruption. Proverbs 29:14 emphasizes the role of rulers in maintaining integrity. The king who faithfully judges the poor, his throne will be established forever. A ruler who exercises fairness and impartiality, especially toward the vulnerable, gains the respect of their people and ensures the longevity of their reign. Corruption, on the other hand, weakens leadership and erodes trust. Wise leaders recognize that their authority comes from God, and that their decisions should reflect His values of justice, righteousness, and compassion. Proverbs teaches that no leader is self-sufficient. Wise leadership involves seeking counsel and being open to advice from others. Seeking wise counsel. Proverbs 15:20 highlights the importance of surrounding oneself with advisors. Without counsel, plans fail, but with many advisors they succeed. Wise leaders understand that they are not infallible, and that consultation with others brings insight and perspective that help avoid mistakes. Avoiding reckless decisions. Proverbs 20:18 advises, "Plans are established by counsel. By wise guidance wage war." Effective leaders take time to consider all angles and make decisions based on careful thought and sound advice, avoiding hasty or reckless choices that could lead to disaster. Wise counsel keeps leaders grounded and helps them make decisions that promote the well-being of their people and the stability of their leadership. Upholding justice and fairness is central to Proverbs' vision of good leadership. Proverbs teaches that leaders who administer justice reflect God's character and contribute to societal well-being. Reflecting God's character. Proverbs 21:3 emphasizes that to do righteousness and justice is more acceptable to the Lord than sacrifice, God values justice above ceremonial rituals or superficial acts of devotion. A just ruler mirrors God's own justice and contributes to the flourishing of society. Ensuring societal stability, Proverbs 24:23-25 teaches. These also are sayings of the wise. Partiality in judging is not good. Whoever says to the wicked, "You are in the right," will be cursed by peoples, abhorred by nations. A leader who shows partiality and does not uphold justice will lead society into chaos. True justice ensures harmony, prosperity, and stability, protecting the innocent and punishing the guilty. Justice is not merely a principle, but a reflection of God's nature. And leaders who uphold justice strengthen the fabric of society. Proverbs teaches that wise leadership is characterized by justice, seeking counsel, and fairness. Leaders are called to administer justice with integrity, to consult others before making decisions, and to uphold righteousness in their rule. Justice is both a reflection of God's character and the key to societal stability, ensuring peace, trust, and prosperity in leadership. As in all areas of life, Proverbs underscores the importance of aligning decisions with wisdom and divine principles. Proverbs 31 presents a beautiful and comprehensive portrait of a woman who embodies wisdom, integrity, and godly living. This chapter celebrates the ideal woman as a model of industriousness, wisdom, kindness, and reverence for God. She is a woman of strength, dignity, and grace, whose actions reflect her deep faith and her commitment to her family and community. The virtuous woman described in Proverbs 31 exemplifies the character traits that make her a model of godly living. Her life is a testimony of faithfulness to God, hard work, and wisdom. Industrious and hard-working, Proverbs 31 minutes and 13 seconds to 19 portrays her as a diligent worker, skillfully managing her household and business ventures. She is not idle, but seeks out ways to provide for her family and serve her community. She seeks wool and flax, and works with willing hands. She's like the ships of the merchant. She brings her food from afar. Wise and understanding, Proverbs 31-26 describes her as a woman who speaks with wisdom and kindness. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. Her words reflect her understanding and careful consideration of others, teaching through her example as much as through her words. God-fearing, Proverbs 31-30 emphasizes that true beauty comes from a fear of the Lord. Charm is deceitful, and beauty is vain. But a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Her devotion to God is the foundation of her character and the source of her strength and wisdom. She places her trust in God and seeks to live in accordance with His will. This woman's life is marked by a balance of hard work, wisdom, kindness, and reverence for God. She is an example of the kind of godly living that Proverbs holds in high regard. The influence of the virtuous woman extends far beyond her own home. Her actions have a profound impact on her family, her community, and those around her. Caring for her family, Proverbs 31 minutes and 15 seconds 21 highlights her commitment to her family's well-being. She ensures that her household is well provided for, both materially and emotionally. She rises while it is yet night and provides food for her household and portions for her maidens. Her family's needs are a priority, and she works tirelessly to ensure they are met, contributing to the community. Proverbs 31-20 shows her generosity. As she extends her care beyond her immediate family, she opens her hand to the poor and reaches out her hands to the needy. She is not only concerned with her own family, but actively contributes to the welfare of others, demonstrating a heart of compassion and service. earning respect and honor. Proverbs 31 minutes and 23 seconds and 31 highlight the respect she earns from both her family and the wider community. Her husband is known in the gates when he sits among the elders of the land. The virtuous woman's influence reflects back on her family, particularly her husband, and brings honor to them all. Her deeds earn her the praise of others. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her works praise her in the gates. Her influence reaches far beyond her household. Through her work, kindness, and devotion, she earns the respect of those around her and contributes to the welfare of her community. The virtuous woman in Proverbs 31 is a model of godly living, combining wisdom, diligence, kindness, and reverence for God. She is not only a caring wife and mother, but also a woman who contributes to her community and earns the respect of others. Her life is a testimony of the power of faith and the impact of a woman who seeks to live according to God's will. Through her industriousness, wisdom, and care for others, she exemplifies the ideal that Proverbs presents, showing how a woman's character and actions can influence her family, her community, and the world. The book of Proverbs often turns to nature as a source of wisdom, using examples from the world around us to teach important life lessons. By observing the behaviors and characteristics of various creatures and elements of creation, Proverbs invites us to recognize the deeper truths about wisdom, God's sovereignty, and our role in His world. Proverbs employs nature to highlight important qualities like diligence, humility, and understanding. Nature itself is seen as a teacher, pointing to the values of wisdom and the natural order established by God. The industrious ant, Proverbs 6:6-8. Proverbs encourages us to observe the ant as a model of hard work and preparation. Go to the ant, O sluggard, consider her ways and be wise. Without having any chief, officer, or ruler, she prepares her bread in summer and gathers her food in harvest. The ant, though small, is diligent and industrious, teaching the value of planning, hard work, and self-motivation. This passage reminds us to work with foresight and care, preparing for future needs, just as the ant does. The strength of small creatures, Proverbs 30 minutes and 24 seconds to 28. In this passage, Proverbs uses several small creatures to illustrate wisdom and strength, particularly in the way they work together or show resilience. The ants are a people not strong, yet they prepare their food in the summer. The rock badgers are a people who are not mighty, yet they make their homes in the cliffs. These creatures, though small and seemingly weak, demonstrate strength through their collective effort and careful planning. The lesson is that wisdom and strength often come in unexpected forms, and that we can learn from even the smallest and humblest aspects of creation. The majesty of the eagle, Proverbs 23:5. Proverbs 23:5 uses the eagle to symbolize strength and majesty. When your eyes light on it, it is gone. For suddenly it sprouts wings like an eagle and flies toward the heavens. The eagle represents qualities like elevation, power, and vision. Its soaring flight reminds us to rise above difficulties and to look to higher purposes and perspectives. Nature's creatures serve as metaphors for the qualities Proverbs encourages: diligence, strength, resilience, and vision. By observing nature, we are called to learn and imitate these virtues. In addition to teaching practical lessons about wisdom, nature in Proverbs serves as a reminder of God's sovereignty and the order He has established in the world. Through creation, we are reminded that God is in control of all things, and our role is to trust in His guidance. God's control over our paths, Proverbs 16:9, Proverbs 16:9 emphasizes that while humans make plans, God ultimately determines the direction of our lives. The heart of man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps. The natural world reflects this divine order. Nothing happens without God's will. Just as nature operates according to his design, so too must we recognize that our lives are under his sovereignty and plan. God's sovereignty over kings, Proverbs 21:1. Proverbs 21:1 teaches, "The king's heart is a stream of water in the hand of the Lord. He turns it wherever he will." Just as nature follows the laws set by God, so too do the hearts of rulers and nations. God's sovereignty extends over every part of creation, and even those in positions of power are subject to his authority. This verse reminds us that no ruler is beyond God's control, and that all things ultimately work according to his purpose. Nature's order, from the movement of the stars to the behavior of animals, mirrors the divine governance over all creation. As we observe the natural world, we are reminded of God's ultimate authority, the certainty of his plan, and our humble place within it. Proverbs teaches us that by observing nature, we can gain insights into wisdom, strength, and the sovereignty of God. The industriousness of the ant, the resilience of small creatures, and the majesty of the eagle all offer lessons that challenge us to live wisely and with purpose. Additionally, nature itself reflects God's order, reminding us of his sovereignty and our need to align our lives with his divine plan. By recognizing these lessons from creation, we gain both practical wisdom for daily living and a deeper understanding of God's rule over all things. The book of Proverbs recognizes the complexity and mystery of life, encouraging us to humble ourselves before the unknown and trust in God's wisdom. Proverbs acknowledges that there are things beyond human comprehension and calls us to rely on God for understanding, direction, and peace in our lives. Al-Goa, the author of Proverbs 30, reflects on the mysteries of life and expresses a deep sense of humility regarding human understanding. He highlights the limitations of human wisdom and the vastness of God's knowledge, the unfathomable mystery of life. Proverbs 30:1-4. In these verses, Al-Goa admits that there are things in life that are beyond human understanding. "I am weary, O God. I am weary, O God, and worn out. Surely I am too stupid to be a man. I have not the understanding of a man." He humbly acknowledges his limitations, recognizing that there are mysteries in creation such as the ways of the heavens, the earth, the seas, and the wind that are beyond human comprehension. Who has ascended to heaven and come down? Who has gathered the wind in his fists? Who has wrapped up the waters in a garment? Who has established all the ends of the earth? Al-Goa's words remind us that the complexities of the universe and life itself are far beyond human ability to fully grasp. The mysteries of God's creation point to his infinite wisdom and power. Humility before the unknown. Al-Goa's reflections lead to a posture of humility. He recognizes that it is not within human capacity to understand all things, and this realization should lead to a deeper reverence for God's wisdom and sovereignty. The mysteries of life invite us to trust in God's perfect knowledge, knowing that we do not have all the answers. Life's mysteries remind us that we are finite, and there are aspects of existence that only God can fully understand. This awareness calls us to rely on Him other than our own limited understanding. While life's mysteries may leave us with unanswered questions, Proverbs calls us to trust in God's wisdom and guidance. It encourages us to lean on God for direction, knowing that He knows what is best for us. Trusting the Lord with all your heart. Proverbs 3-5-6. Proverbs 3-5-6 teaches us that when we face the unknown, we are called to trust God fully. Rather than relying on our own limited understanding, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make straight your paths. In the midst of life's uncertainties, God offers peace and guidance. When we trust Him completely and surrender our own understanding, He directs our paths and provides clarity. The peace of trusting God with our lives, brings a sense of peace that transcends our ability to understand everything. Proverbs 3-6 reassures us that when we acknowledge God in all our ways, He will guide us. This trust is not passive, but an active choice to rely on God's wisdom over our unlimited perspective. Life is full of mysteries, but Proverbs teaches us that by trusting in God, we can have peace and confidence, knowing that He is in control and will guide us according to His perfect plan. The mystery of life is one of the key themes in Proverbs, with Ogre's reflections in Proverbs 30 reminding us of our human limitations and the vastness of God's wisdom. While there are aspects of life that are beyond human understanding, Proverbs encourages us to trust in God fully, knowing that He is in control and will guide us. By relinquishing our own understanding and placing our trust in God, we can find peace, direction, and wisdom. The mysteries of life invite us to embrace humility and faith, recognizing that God alone holds the answers to the unknown. In the book of Proverbs, ultimate wisdom is portrayed as a divine gift, rooted in the fear of the Lord and coming directly from God. This wisdom is not only about knowledge or intellect, but about living in accordance with God's will. Proverbs teaches that true wisdom leads to life, righteousness, peace, and eternal blessings. Proverbs emphasizes that true wisdom comes from God alone. While human knowledge and understanding are limited, God's wisdom is infinite and perfect, offering guidance and direction for all aspects of life. God's wisdom is the source of life. Proverbs 2:6. For the Lord gives wisdom. From His mouth come knowledge and understanding. This verse underscores the truth that wisdom is a gift from God. It is not something that can be achieved solely through human effort or intellect, but must be received from the Lord. True wisdom comes through a relationship with God, who imparts knowledge and understanding. Wisdom's role in creation. Proverbs 8:22-31. In Proverbs 8, wisdom is personified as a woman who was present with God from the very beginning of creation. The Lord possessed me at the beginning of His work, the first of His acts of old. Ages ago I was set up, at the first, before the beginning of the earth. This passage portrays wisdom as an essential part of God's creative process. Wisdom is seen as a guide in shaping the universe, and those who seek wisdom are aligning themselves with God's eternal plan. The life-giving nature of wisdom, when sought from God, leads to life and prosperity. Proverbs teaches that living according to God's wisdom brings stability, protection, and peace, whereas living apart from God's wisdom leads to destruction and folly. God is the ultimate source of all wisdom, and by seeking His wisdom, we are invited into a deeper understanding of life, creation, and our purpose. The application of God's wisdom in daily life is crucial for living a righteous, peaceful, and fulfilled life. Proverbs teaches that wisdom is not just theoretical knowledge, but practical guidance that leads to blessing. The importance of wisdom in daily life. Proverbs 4:7-9. The beginning of wisdom is this: get wisdom, and whatever you get insight. Prize her highly, and she will exalt you. She will honor you if you embrace her. Proverbs highlights that wisdom is of utmost importance in all areas of life. When we prioritize wisdom and apply it in our choices, relationships, and actions, we are promised honor and favor. Wisdom leads to a life that is marked by righteousness and peace, guiding us to make decisions that align with God's will. The deceptive nature of human wisdom. Proverbs 14:12. Proverbs also cautions that not all paths that seem right lead to life. There is a way that seems right to a man, but its end is the way to death. This verse warns that human wisdom, without the guidance of God, can be deceiving. What may seem like the right path may, in reality, lead to destruction. Wisdom that is rooted in God's understanding ensures that we are walking in the path of life and righteousness. Wisdom leads to eternal blessings. Applying God's wisdom in our lives does not only lead to temporal benefits, but also to eternal blessings. Proverbs teaches that wisdom leads to peace, security, and favor with both God and man. Living wisely positions us for a life that reflects God's kingdom, where righteousness reigns and blessings abound. Living wisely, according to the wisdom that comes from God, is the key to experiencing righteousness, peace, and eternal blessings. It is about making choices that honor God and align with His will, knowing that true fulfillment comes when we live in accordance with His divine wisdom. Ultimate wisdom is found in God alone, and Proverbs teaches that true wisdom is a gift from Him. It leads to life, righteousness, and peace, and is the key to making wise decisions in all areas of life. By seeking and applying God's wisdom, we can navigate the complexities of life with understanding and purpose. True wisdom offers both temporal benefits and eternal blessings, and living according to it ensures that we walk in the path of righteousness, ultimately fulfilling our God-given purpose. The pursuit of wisdom is not just an intellectual endeavor, but a way of life that leads us closer to God and His perfect plan for our lives. The book of Proverbs offers a comprehensive guide to living a wise and godly life. Its teachings on wisdom, relationships, work, wealth, justice, and faithfulness provide timeless principles that remain relevant for all generations. At its heart is the message that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and a life aligned with His ways leads to flourishing and eternal reward. May your spiritual journey be filled with God's grace and peace. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video to inspire others on their walk with the Lord.